from the mound.
The Giants have won the ball game. Bill Laskey has shut out the Montreal Expos.
To the mic.
He's the ace of the staff. Let's welcome in Logan Webb. Let's bring a friend of mine in. Pat Burrow. Pat, how are you today?
Bill, I'm doing great, man. Glad to be on with you.
Giants fans, this is Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On your exclusive home of the San Francisco Giants. KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM. The sports leader.
Now Bivens trying to finish up this shutout for the Giants. He throws. Swing and a miss. He not only finishes and gets his second save in 2 days, he finishes by striking out the side. Now that is quite a way to finish up a season.
Should have been wearing a tuxedo on the mound. Finished out the year in style.
Welcome into an extra inning post-game show, our final show for the 2025 baseball season as the San Francisco Giants finish up the season with a 4-game winning streak as they shut out the Colorado Rockies 4-0 in the final game of the 2025 season, and they finish 81-81. The San Diego Padres are losing 12-2 against the San Diego Padres. The Arizona Diamondbacks are losing to the San Diego Padres 12-2, which would make the Giants finish in third place at 81-81. The Diamondbacks would finish in fourth. And, of course, the L.A. Dodgers and the San Diego Padres are both going to the playoffs. The Cincinnati Reds lost today. The New York Mets lost today. So the Cincinnati Reds are now in the wild card position. As they win the tiebreaker, they will be playing the L.A. Dodgers the first round, as the San Diego Padres will be playing the Chicago Cubs in the first round. Milwaukee will be the first seed, and Philadelphia will be the second seed. But today, some milestones happened at Oracle Park. The first one, of course, Willie Adames, the first pitch he saw in the leadoff spot today, hit his 30th home run. 30 home runs for Willie Adames. And that was the first time since he beat Barry Bonds, did it in 2004. So big plus right there for Willie Adames. He ends up with 87 RBIs. And that was 21 years ago. Barry Bonds did that in 2004. Again, a great year for Willie Adames. He really did perform well the second half. Made some great plays again today in the defensive side. He got it started with a home run in the first inning. In the fourth inning, Rafael Devers hits a home run, his 35th on the year. 2-1 sinker, 416 feet. He finished with 35 home runs with 109 RBIs, and you could really cut this into two ways, when he played for Boston and when he played for the Giants. And one of the key points, 20 home runs out of the 35 he hit with the San Francisco Giants in 90 games he played. One of the things he accomplished, 163 games he played in this year. 163, 73 with Boston and 90 with San Francisco, a feat Jose Pagan did all the way back in 1962 with the Giants. Again, we have accomplishments going on, and the next one is Logan Webb. What a performance he put on in his 35th start, 35 starts for Logan Webb. 34 starts, I apologize, 34 starts. And that was a big number. That's the first time he's ever done that. 2023, Miles Mikolas did that, and Zach Gallen did that. So an accomplishment that Logan Webb did today. Also, 216 strikeouts he came in, and he ended up getting 8. He ended up with 224 strikeouts, leading the National League. Most innings pitched, and that broke a Major League Baseball record. First again, he had 206 2/3. 2 times in the last 3 years he's done that. 206 2/3 innings, 210 hits, 224 strikeouts with a 3.22 earned run average. Don't know if those numbers are enough to win a Cy Young, but he will definitely be in the top 3. Three key points right there. Willie Adames, Rafael Devers, and Logan Webb. 3 mainstays for the foundation for the 2026 season. And as you heard Willie Adames and Matt Chapman talking at the end of the game when all the players came on the field, he was talking about next year. We want to go deeper. We have a good foundation. We'll come back with better energy, better thought pattern. These are all great to do. I'm all for it. But you got to now perform. And I think all these veterans are going to be put to test next year in trying to get some new players on this team, new faces, as well as new energy to try to get some wins and build a consistency against the NL West, because boy, when you start looking at what they did against the NL West, they didn't play .500 against the Dodgers, the Padres, or the Diamondbacks. The only team that really they won, they were 11-2 against the Colorado Rockies. But a 4-game winning streak right here for the San Francisco Giants to finish the season 81-81. We're going to get on the phone lines. Got a lot to talk about today, a lot of thank yous, a lot of appreciation as we continue on. The last game of the San Francisco Giants season ended today. Ballpark will be empty. That's the sad part about it. Giant fans will be hanging up their gear in the closets and waiting for the 2026 season to start in February when spring training starts. So we'll get back to some phone calls, talk more Giants baseball as we continue on the final series, the final game, as the Giants ended up winning 4 straight and winning this final series against the Colorado Rockies. I'm Bill Laskey. This is the Extra Inning Postgame Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
You're listening to the former Giants righty. It's KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Heard on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR.
All right, back on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show with Bill Laskey as the Giants finish out their season 81-81. At Oracle Park, there were 42 wins, 39 losses. On the road, 39 wins, 42 losses. So you're talking an even year, 81-81. 4-game win streak to finish it as they take on the Colorado Rockies and sweep them at Oracle Park for the weekend. Giants win today. Logan Webb gets his 15th win, 15-11. He finishes with a 3.22 earned run average. Spencer Bivens goes 2 innings. He gets his 3rd save, 2 saves in a row. Jung-Hoo Lee had a nice game today, 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. He finishes with a 266 batting average. Really had some good numbers. Really won his first full year of being a rookie because, of course, he was injured last year. 47 walks, only 71 strikeouts. His last 7 games, he was 7 for 26 with a triple, couple doubles. So throw on those numbers, and it's even more impressive. So a good year for Jung-Hoo Lee. And you start looking at what could happen next year with the core. And, of course, the core is going to be Willie Adames, Matt Chapman, Rafael Devers, and Jung-Hoo Lee most likely. Throw Elliott Ramos in there, Patrick Bailey, possibilities. But you know what? You're going to see new faces on this team. Buster Posey is not going to sit on the same roster. There may be some moves that we like and we might not like. But, again, when you're trying to come through this with an 81-81 season, things are going to have to change. And you got to look at what the pitching staff's going to do. Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, Landon Root. Again, you got a couple other faces. Maybe Justin Verlander comes back. You have Trevor McDonald. You have Hayden Birdsong. A lot of names on a whiteboard right now that they're going to have to make decisions on. Buster Posey will have a press conference tomorrow, and we'll find out the fate of Bob Melvin. And I think that's the first thing that we'll find out, if he'll return with his coaching staff or will Buster Posey move on and get a new manager. All right, let's get to some phone calls. Let's go to Bob in Saratoga. Bob, you're on an Extra Inning post-game show. Nice hearing from you, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing well, Bill. I hope you're doing well with fantasy camp, and I want to try to help you. So give me a call if I can, because it's the best thing I ever did in my life.
Yeah, Bob. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Great.
That's Big League Coaching, bigleaguecoaching.org if people want to take a look at the website.
Terrific, yeah. Okay, so the thing is, I want to thank you for the greatest talk show on radio and the way you handle and your patience and listening to the all the people that call in, and then pointing out to people every night that it's not the manager, it's the players. So that's what we got to keep in mind. I think Buster Posey, knowing him a little bit, it will keep him to at least start the season. And if we have a good first 3 months, he'll continue. If he doesn't, he's going to have to make a change. The other thing is
we'll find out tomorrow, Bob. He's going to make that decision tomorrow if he hasn't made it already. There is an extension already given to Bob Melvin, and we'll find out if they're going to push through and see what changes there might be. There might be some changes if Bob Melvin comes back on the coaching staff, and see what precludes, because that's the first thing of business. You have to look at what you're going to have as a leader in that dugout, and we'll find out tomorrow. I'm sure Buster Posey's not too happy with an 81-81 season, but the way they fought back to get to 500 with 4 straight wins, it was impressive. Even though it was against the Colorado Rockies and the Cardinals, they still played better baseball at the end of the season.
Right. I think they need to add at least 1 or 2 more good hitters, and then starting pitching is the number one thing because of all the injuries, et cetera, and we may not get Verlander back. So now, if Root's healthy, he'd be a good number 3 starter, but we need 4 or 5 starters. We can't do these bullpen games anymore. They're awful.
They really didn't do too many of those. They had a couple bullpen arms start them, but that was really done through Farhan and Gabe Kapler. I think Bob Melvin really took it upon himself. Maybe a couple of them, if I'm remembering, but that starting staff, once they got rid of Harrison and then Hayden Birdsong was really a disaster. I think everybody thought he'd do a lot better. It was difficult to fill in that 4th and 5th starter by Kaiwei Tang jumping in there, but I was very impressed with McDonald. I thought Trevor McDonald really pitched 2 good games against the Dodgers and then again Friday night against the Rockies. So we'll find out, though, Bob. But thank you again for calling in. It's a pleasure always to hear your voice on the Extra Inning post-game show, and I'll definitely be in touch with you, Bob.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Yep, let's go to Tom. He's in Vacaville. Tom, you're on an extra inning post-game show on a Sunday. How are you?
Good, Bill. How are you doing?
Well, finishing up a season 81 and 81, I really like what they did. I liked how Willie Adames approached the game today to hit that 30th home run. I was glad to see Bob put him in the leadoff spot. Took the pressure off him right off the bat. And what can you say about Logan Webb? He went out there and performed well today.
Yeah. My point is, I got, I think, 3 games that just are grinding. First of all, the Cardinal game that was on Saturday night in St. Louis, it was the middle game, and the Giants were on a sixth game. It was going to be a 7-game win, and they lost that game. Then I go back to before they played the Dodgers the first time. I believe it was like July 12th, and they were ahead of the Colorado 7-3, and they lost that game in Colorado. That was 2. Yep. And then there was another game. It was the second game they played the Padres. It was at Oracle. And they were ahead 2-0. Logan Webb had shut the Padres down, and then they came in. They walked two guys, and the Padres got a win. Just those 3 wins. If we would have reversed, and they're 9th inning, and they're not, like you could go back to say the Dodger game, but that was first inning where we had 4-0. So, but these games were winnable, like 1 out away, and we lost this.
Yeah, you could also point out some other ones. Losing to the Marlins. Losing to the White Sox, losing to the Pirates. Some of the games that you should have won with teams that were under 500. That Cardinal game still sticks with me, too. They had a 2-0 lead going in the bottom of the 9th inning, and Walker didn't get a guy out. 3 runs right there. And then the following day, Kai Tang had a shutout for 4 innings. He walked 3 guys in a row, and the Cardinals scored 4 in that game. But I'm remembering all those games you talked about, and you could point out different games, Tom, and some series that they should have played better. But again, finishing 81 and 81, you're not going to get to the playoffs with a 500 record.
Yeah, but 83 and 79 got there, and that's the Reds were 500.
Yeah.
They lost to the A's 3 games 2 weeks ago. I remember listening to your show, and the Giants were ahead of them. So we came.
Yeah, they just fell. I just think those 2 weeks where they played the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers, and that whole, they played the Dodgers 7 times. They played the Arizona Diamondbacks 6 times in the middle of September. They just could not get through those games. Of course, the Dodgers, they win 1 out of 4 in that 4-game series. They did beat the Diamondbacks up here 2-3, and then they fell down to their 2-3. It's 6 and 7 against the Diamondbacks. I thought that could have easily been better in an overall record also.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I like Bob Melvin, and I think he might be suited more for like a, in the office. He's a good baseball mind and everything, but I think they got to move in a different direction. And the guy said, well, who would replace him? Someone like a Hunter Pence or the other guy that I really think.
No, I think they got to go through an experienced guy. A couple names that were popping up in the press box the other night when I was up there. Skip Schumacher, who used to manage with the Marlins. He's with the Rangers front office. Mark DeRosa's another one. Some names like that are a little younger, I think, but at the same time, we really can't look into new names or new managers until we find out the direction of the Giants. I'm sorry, I'm a Bob Melvin fan, and it's not just my friendship or he was my teammate. He's very astute in the game of baseball. He's very prepared. Players like him, pitchers like him. And let's just find out what they're going to do before we put a lynch around him and get him out yet. I want him to come back. I think another year with the veteran leadership that they have and the core guys, I think they could build something around these guys.
Yeah, it's nothing. I'm not set in stone that he's got to go, but it's kind of I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, we'll find out, Tom. That's all we can do. We'll find out what the decision's going to be. Like I said, there's a press conference tomorrow, and we can move forward from there. But you definitely did pick a few games that I said the same thing. Some games that they lost that they could have won and stepped into this wild card a little better position. But, Tom, thanks for the call. I appreciate your time on a Sunday. Let's go up to Portland and talk to Greg. Greg, nice to hear from you again. How are you?
I am well. Thanks, Bill. great year of radio again. And,
had a fun time.
Yeah, you've really done a good job, and I enjoy listening to your shows so much. And that was the main reason I called. Just thanks for.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I did over 120 post-game shows this year, Greg. How about that? 120, and I think I did, a little more than 6 or 8 warm-up shows, and then you got to look at sports phone KNBR shows. But the biggest thing is my interviews. Unbelievable how many interviews I did this year, over 135 interviews with some great players. And that's the fun part that I love to do.
The one interview I missed, and I'm going to go to the podcast. Yesterday afternoon, I couldn't. I had to leave after the game and do some errands. I missed Will the Thrill.
Oh, you got to put him on. That was a good interview. That was a fun one. Fun one with him, Marvin Bernard today. Today's the other one, Robbie Thompson, another teammate of mine.
Yeah. Now Robbie Thompson's today, correct?
Yeah, that's on later tonight. Yeah, later in the show. But he was a good interview. He's a good teammate, good guy. You know, the biggest thing that I tried to do this weekend, Greg, was unify the Willie Mack Award winners and bring that touch to the show. You know, I started off with Larry Herndon and Chris Spire last weekend, and then I brought on Dave Dravecki, Marvin Bernard today and yesterday, and the list goes on. Some great Giants that awarded with the Willie Mack Award, and Willie Adames is one of the guys that I said, man, that fits that role so well, is what he's done for that club.
Yep. Well, and the Thrill, Will, one of the reasons I love the guy, he's really my favorite Giant after Willie McCovey.
Yep, he's one of a kind.
He doesn't mince words. He's tough. Like his dad said, there are no participation trophies in the car.
You always like that one, Greg. You brought that one up
I love that because we live in these touchy-feely times, and boy, the Thrill, show up. And plus, he was a winner.
And he did.
Total clutch. Never.
Some good one-liners out of him. You'll have to go on the podcast and listen to that one. I got him on a couple stats and a couple things I found on him, and he always says that. You always find nuggets on me, Laskey. I love that.
He's a character. Hey, well, look,
Greg, thanks for the call. Thanks for the call, Greg.
Thanks for your good work, and let's hope we have a better
appreciate it, my friend. Hey, you be well over the winter, okay? Take care of yourself up there.
Hey, Bill. Keep up the good work.
All right, thanks again, Greg. Appreciate your time. Let's go to Rich. He's leaving the game right now with a victory in his head, 4-0. Rich, what'd you think of the game today?
Oh, hey, thanks for taking my call, Bill. I really enjoy your show. I thought it was awesome. It was so enjoyable. Just right off the bat, I was talking to my sister saying, Donald's got to get his 30th home run, and 2 seconds later, bam, he just hits it. And it's like, it was so fun. It was incredible. And I thought that was going to be such an incredible game.
First pitch that McCade Brown threw, and he knocks it out of center field. That was impressive.
Oh, it was awesome. And, the only thing that didn't get checked off my list was I wanted to go ahead and see Eldridge get his first home run, but unfortunately that didn't come about. But everything else was amazing. And I'm just super excited about next year. And I think what they built this year, this is kind of the year where they're getting used to each other and getting used to the field. Devers, we had him for half a year. If we would have had him a whole year, I'm sure he could have done a lot of damage the first half, and we probably would have won some more games.
I threw a number out there, Rich.
But then he did great.
I threw a number out there. That was his 20th home run that he hit out of 35 for the year in 90 games for the Giants. So you think about that, 162 games, and he hit 20 and 90. He's definitely a guy that we need to hit home runs and launch the ball, and I think he got real comfortable with the team and his teammates, and I think that's the big plus moving into next year.
Yeah, and look at all the offense we have that's hit 20 or more home runs this year. We haven't had that in the past. So you put a whole team together of that, and you got all these pitchers that we have that are, some of them, you got Root that's injured, but he's going to come back, and McDonald looks so good, and you got our core, and I hope Verlander comes back. He really looks sharp. So you put that together, I think next year is going to be a really nice year.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see what they're going to do. Like I just told my last caller, we'll find out tomorrow what's the move he's going to do for Bob Melvin. If Melvin's coming back, is he Buster Posey and the front office going to change? Let's hope not. I'm a Bob Melvin fan, and see if Bob Melvin and his coaching staff can regroup over the winter and work with these veterans that they have, from the Chapman to Devers, the Adames, and then you allowed to look at Logan Webb. He's one of your aces. Robbie Ray's another one, and then you got Landon Roop and a couple younger pitchers. But will they go out and sign some other pitchers? Most likely the depth in the pitching staff just wasn't there in the second half, and I think that's one thing that they're going to definitely look at.
Yeah, he definitely needs to shore that up. And I mean, Melvin, he has the experience with the players. He's learning the players, and he's learning what works and doesn't work. So next year, take advantage of that, as opposed to getting somebody new who has to learn everything again.
I agree with you, Rich. But thanks for the call. I'm glad you went out to the game. A lot of standing ovations, which I really enjoyed watching on television today. Standing ovation for Logan Webb, Willie Adames, and then at the end of the year, when they all came out in the field, I thought that was very impressive how the Giants fans, applauded them. Even though they didn't get to the playoffs, Giants fans always came out and supported this team.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. Thanks for taking my call again, and I look forward to seeing you next year.
Yep, thanks, Rich. Thanks for your time. We'll take a quick break on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show, 415-808-KNBR. Got a few on hold right now. We'll get right back to you. But as we continue on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show, I want to thank some people right off the bat. I was talking about all the interviews I did, and I want to start off with Matt Chisholm from the San Francisco Giants and Maverick Palak and Marina. They all helped me trying to get the Giants players and coaches put together for interviews. Erwin Higueras helped me in spring training, as well as getting some of the Latin players together. Bobby Basca from the Giants Alumni Association feeding me some alumni names, and just a very, very cool core of people that I work with in supplying me some players. And I did over 130 interviews this year, and you could just go up and down. But Mark Ibanez was on the show many times, Tyler Fitzgerald, Christian Koss. And then, you just start looking down the names of so many great players, from Bobby Crosby, Doug Flynn, Greg Vaughn, Rick Dempsey, Ben McDonald, Ray Knight, Howard Johnson. It just goes on. And it was a pleasure to do all these interviews for Giants fans and baseball fans and listening to all my shows. And I want to thank all of them, too, for taking some time out of their daily schedule to do these interviews with me. It's a lot of work from my part and doing a lot of homework with them, but the joy when the interviews are over and they hear all the fans talk about them, it was a pleasure doing them. So I thank you for listening to all these interviews and enjoying them. And if you can always go on the All KNBR podcast, look up Bill Laskey and catch some of these interviews. There's a lot of them. I know you didn't hear all of them, so jump on there over the winter when you're going for a walk or you're on a treadmill. Listen to a couple of these great callers. But, you just go back and back. I was looking at some of the names, Wade Boggs, Jim Cott, a couple Hall of Famers, and the list goes on. So I want to thank them, and I want to thank the people that helped me. So we'll take a quick break, come back with more phone calls, and talk more Giants baseball as we finish out the Extra Inning Post-Game Show of 2025. We'll be right back on KNBR.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with former Giants right-hander Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR. Play KNBR.
Back on the Extra Inning post-game show as we wind down the 2025 Giants season. Let's take a look at the NL West, how it finished. The LA Dodgers, of course, winning the division at 93-69. The San Diego Padres were second, 90-72. The Giants did finish in third at 81-81, 12 games back. Arizona was 80-82, 13 games back. And the Colorado Rockies, this is an ugly number, 43 wins, 119 losses, 50 games back. They got to do something here with the Colorado Rockies. Something's got to change in that organization and try to retool this, because the Colorado Rockies fans come out to watch that team so well. And you know what? You can't look at 43 and 119 and try to make a move here. That's just not acceptable at the big league level. All right, let's get to the phone lines. Let's go to Matthew in San Jose. Matthew, how are you?
Doing well, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing good. Giants won today. They won 4 straight. A nice finish for a season that was ups and downs, but in the long run, some good players that finished up season well today.
It really was, Bill. And I'm a longtime listener, and my 6-year-old son Thomas was asleep last time you and I spoke after a game. We're actually on our way home from the game now, so he wants to say hi.
Hi, Thomas. How are you?
Good.
Who's your favorite player, Thomas?
Jung-Hoo Lee.
Jung-Hoo Lee. Boy, he had a good year this year. Hit 266. How about 3 hits today? You must have liked that.
Oh, yeah. You hit 3 hits?
Were you? Yeah, he was 3 for 4 today, 2 RBIs. Does Thomas get up and holler the Jung-Hoo Lee the vocals when he's up?
He sure does. He wears the jersey, and we chant Jung-Hoo Lee. Even when it's on TV, he knows when he's up to bat because he hears it on the TV.
Oh, that's great. I got to meet Jung-Hoo Lee many times this year. He's an extremely nice player. And Justin, his interpreter, just 2 nice people, and looking forward to a better year next year. As he said, he's got to take some time off. He's never played in a 163-game season. When you look at Korea baseball, it's only like 40 or 50 games. So it did take a toll out of him a little bit, got tired probably in August, but he came on pretty good in the month of September. And, you know, when you look at his last few games, I mean, his last 7 games, he was 7 for 26. You add today's game in, and he was 3 for 4, so you're talking 10 for 30, which was a pretty good finish for him.
It really was. We like to watch his batting and the way he controls the bat head, and he's just got some really unique and cool skills. And yeah, he's a lot of fun. Tommy, you wanted to say something about what jersey you're wearing today?
But today I'm wearing a Matt Chapman jersey instead of my Jung-Hoo.
Oh, nice. You like Matt Chapman's defense? I bet you do, don't you? He's a very good defensive player, isn't he, Thomas?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he ran the bases today after the game. We both did, and he got the hot corner. And then he slid into home, got in a little bit of trouble. Little bit of trouble for sliding into home, but not really. It was a good slide.
Well, listen, you guys have a safe trip home. Thomas, it was a pleasure to meet you, and maybe next year we'll talk a little bit more on the Extra Inning post-game shows.
Sounds great.
All right, take care of yourself. Bye, Thomas. Have a good winter. Talk to you, Matthew. Appreciate it. Let's go out to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and talk to Chris. Chris, you're on an Extra Inning post-game show as we wind down the season. How are you?
Oh, great, Bill. Great show as usual. I love your insight all the time.
Well, I appreciate your time and listening out in Pittsburgh. You know what? When you look at what you did and the Pittsburgh Pirates out there, they had a tough season, but, boy, Skeens sure threw well, didn't he?
Yeah, yes, he did. He pitched a hell of a season, I'll tell you. I mean, he's definitely going to get that Cy Young, and he deserves it because he pitched well. Now, granted, the team didn't really back him up, but, of course, that's how the ball goes, if you want to say.
Yeah, he ended up with a 1.97 earned run average. That was very impressive when you're looking at 30 starts for him. And, he just had that charisma, he had that energy, and he also had a 100-mile-an-hour fastball to go with it all.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll tell you now, on the Giants front, despite them having a 500 record, they struggled, yes. But I'll tell you, I think it's only going to go up for the Giants. I really do. I mean, Logan Webb.
Well, they build a core. I think that's what we want to talk about, Chris. The core that Buster Posey wanted to build, and he did it. He picked up Willie Adames, Matt Chapman, and now Rafael Devers. That's your core guys. Those are your three core guys. You have to build it around them. When you look at Willie Adames playing in 160 games, Rafael Devers in 163 games, Matt Chapman would have been right up there if he didn't hurt his wrist. And, when you look at those three guys, those are the guys that are going to lead by example, and you saw that with Willie Adames, and you saw him win that Willie Mack Award, and that's where it is, the spirit and leadership. So all you can do is go from there, and now you have that core, now you got to build it around it.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, I'm hoping that Buster Posey will keep Bromell, because Bromell, being for the first year with the Giants manager, he's only getting his feet wet. So maybe next year they'll be able to do better.
I agree. I'm right there with you, Chris. And, once you get to know your roster, and he moved some guys around, and, of course, injuries plagued him a little bit. But as you looked at the month of August and September when they had that run, boy, it was exciting baseball at that time.
By all means, yes, indeed.
Well, Chris, you have a great off season. Keep pulling for the orange and black, and we'll find out what's going to happen here in the off season, and let's see what this team can perform with in the 2026 season.
Sounds good to me, Bill. Thank you very much for your great season.
I appreciate it, Chris. Thanks for listening. Let's go to Sal. He's in Chicago. Sal, how are you this afternoon?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you, Bill, for having my call, man. I love your show, and I'm glad the Giants made it to 500 this season, and Adames breaking that Bonds record, getting to 30 home runs this season. That was fantastic to see, right?
It sure was, and playing in 160 games, I thought that was a big, big plus, and I really believe the second half his defense shined. He made a great play again today up the middle. Mostly throwing errors. He really didn't miss too many ground balls, if you remember how his glove and his hands were so quick to the ball, and a couple off position throws, off balance throws. But overall, I thought he played shortstop really well this year.
He's done a fantastic job, and, I think it's going to be a great season next year. If we had Devers with those 18 home runs in the first half of the season, we played 57 one-run games this season. So, we could easily have made the playoff this season, but I'm looking forward to next year and Buster Posey getting another starter and reinforcing this bullpen.
I agree with you, Sal. A couple new faces, a couple new hitters, maybe something that can give them a little more length, get them in that bases. They got to do something with stolen bases. They didn't do that. They finished 29th. They got to get people on, and they got to get some speed in this lineup to get some base stealing, and I think that's one of the things they're going to have to work on.
And I appreciate you and so much of this show, and go Giants, hum baby, and go Niners.
Sal, thanks again for the call. Appreciate your time out of Chicago for calling in and listening, and I appreciate that. Let's go to Chris. He's in San Jose. Chris, how are you on a Sunday afternoon? The Giants season comes to an end. How are you?
Mr. Laskey, great to talk with you.
I'm-
Great to commiserate with you.
Well, pleasure for calling in.
Last time we spoke a couple times. Last time we spoke about our North Carolinians on the mound, and I'm really looking forward to having Landon Root come back. I think he's a special kid, and he's only going to get better as long as he makes a full 100% recovery. And I think
also don't forget about our. Yeah, but don't forget about our guy from Mississippi either, McDonald. Trevor McDonald threw a couple gems at the last 2 games here. I think he's got a little special invitation to possibly get in that rotation also. But I'm right there with Landon Root. That knee injury really put the Giants behind the 8 ball in that starting rotation when they only had really 3 when you looked at Webb, Ray, and Verlander, the 4th and 5th spot. Boy, they couldn't find enough pitchers to fill them.
Agreed. And I think the injury to, Randy Rodriguez in the bullpen, set the bullpen back a little bit. But, you talked about stewardship and leadership and spirit. And, you got to give a shout out to, obviously Chapman and Adames. But I really want to talk about Pat Bailey. And I want to talk about, these catchers, past, present, and future, Bo Mel, Buster Posey, and Pat Bailey. And I think they're on the right track, and I think they manage the game, they manage the players, and they manage the spirit of this organization.
I agree right with you there. And you could go back to Mike Matheny when he caught here, Bob Brenly when he caught here. There's been so many good quality catchers. And, you look at Bruce Bochy, what he did as a manager here. You're absolutely right, Chris, about them being a manager on the field, a coach on the field, dictating what he did and what he didn't do. Patrick Bailey called some great games for these starting pitchers as well as the bullpen pitchers, and he was I think it was a plus 25 in stealing pitches for the zone. Now they're going to go to that ABS next year with automatic balls and strikes, and he'll still have his opportunities to steal a strike here and there. But what he did on the defensive side, it might earn him another second Gold Glove when the voting comes in.
I really believe that. I also think the adjustments that he made at the plate with his swing and particularly him hitting from the left side exclusively, and maybe thinking about maybe dropping, being a switch hitter. I see great things with him. I mean, everybody needs to be mindful about how incredibly difficult this great game of ours is to play. And
you're absolutely right. And you know what, Chris, you bring up Patrick Bailey. How about the walk-off home run, inside the park home run, the walk-off grand slam against the Dodgers, one from the left side, one from the right side, 2 dramatic home runs that he put together this year.
Absolutely. And I just think the spirit of this team and again, baseball is a constant game of adjustments. It's a craftsman's game. You got to get better at your craft. I really like what I saw, when Patrick Bailey, faced some adversity at the plate and wasn't hitting so well, and he made the adjustments and he got better and he improved and that spirit is what everybody needs to do. I think offensively, obviously. A lot of swing and miss, so I'd like to see everybody at the lineup collectively, maybe put the ball in play a little bit more and cut down the strikeouts, particularly with runners in scoring position. But again, I can't say enough. The future looks bright for this team. I like what I see, from Bryce Eldridge. Obviously Devers and Chapman and Adames. Good offensive output, but Logan Webb continues to be. Quite possibly one of the best baseball players in the National League. And,
no doubt about it. And what about the stats he threw out there today, having the most innings pitched in MLB, the most strikeouts in the National League, 2 feats that were done, and it hasn't been done in so many years when the San Francisco Giants have been collecting these stats, and you start thinking about what numbers come where, and you're talking about 1944 is the last time a pitcher has had most innings and most strikeouts. Bill Vosale is his name, and then Christy Matheson in 1908. Amos Ruzio in 1893. This is franchise history, and what he did today and how he prepared himself to go against the Rockies to get 8 strikeouts, no walks, and got in 5 1/3 innings. He got the win, Chris, and He ended up going 15-11 with a 3.22 earned run average. Another fabulous year by Logan Webb.
Absolutely. And you talked in your pregame show, I think it was with Mr. Fleming, just about, hey, no one's ever gotten Cy Young Award votes in 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. And I believe he's going to be the first pitcher to do that. And, that speaks to longevity. That speaks to being a workhorse. That's a true ace right there.
He does, and he doesn't want to have anybody take that ball from him. No question about that. And, you start looking at quality starts. Today, his 34th start and over 20 quality starts. I mean, this is a bulldog. That's 6 innings or more with 3 innings or less. Just an outstanding year for Logan Webb. No injuries. He never missed a start. You got to look at Robbie Ray also. He was fabulous, and he kind of just dwindled here in the last couple of weeks. But this was his first full year, Chris, since he had Tommy John. So the length and strength of his arm will come back next year. But those are your number 1 and 2 for next year, and that's a pretty good one.
You're absolutely right. I'll leave you with this. The 3 best abilities. I talk to my players about this. Availability, accountability, and responsibility. This team, their leaders, this organization, they have those 3 qualities. They're available, they're accountable, and they're responsible. That's the recipe for success long term. And I know that as long as they keep those principles in mind and everybody posts up and stays on the field and stays healthy, we're going to take down those bad boys in blue.
Well, I'll leave you with that. That was a great one line right there. I love those 3 words you just said, and the Giants have all of them. But, Chris, thank you for your time today. Thanks for the call, and have a great off season, and continue to coach because you're one of the better ones.
I appreciate that, Bill. You do the same. Love talking
all right,
with you,
Chris.
love talking ball with you, and we'll see you next year.
All right, I appreciate your time. Let's go to Andrea in Berkeley for my final call from 2025. Andrea, I saved the best for last. How are you?
Oh, bless your heart. I'm doing great, Bill. How are you?
Good. The season's winding down, and it was a good finish by them winning the last 4 games.
Yes.
I'd love to see what Logan Webb did, smiling, coming off the mound to a standing ovation. Willie Adames getting his 30th home run. Rafael Devers hitting his 35th home run. Even go Jung-Hoo Lee, which had a nice base hit in that bottom of the 8th inning to score 2 more runs. So the quality of the players are there. Now it's regrouping, retooling, and understanding what they have to compete with in the 2026 season.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say we got a Sunday fun day. We finished at I love that. We finished at 500, 81 and 81, and then I heard your voice in the background going, sweep, and we got a sweep. So we kind of checked all the boxes, and, it was really great, to build some momentum here, and our Don't Waste the Ace, Logan Webb, Intense Scorpio, over 200 innings pitched, 207 to be exact this year. And Adames, he's a Virgo. He was hard on himself, and he finished strong with a leadoff home run. And then Devers, Devers as well. We got him around the All-Star break.
All good things right there, Andrea. They're all good quality guys, and I think once they leave and they see each other over the winter and start participating in winter workouts, most of them live in Arizona, which is even better for them. They'll be at Papago working out, and I think that's how you build momentum. That's how you build confidence. Willie Adames playing in 160 games, Devers in 163. That doesn't happen much. That doesn't happen to many players. And, Buster Posey picked out a good one. A lot of people just liked Willie Adames in the beginning of the year. He just wasn't performing well. Well, you didn't have too many phone calls in the last couple of months, at least I didn't, ripping on him because he sure got hot, and he definitely led by example.
Oh, yeah, I remember his press conference like it was yesterday. So, we had to be a little patient with him. And, he came around and finished the season strong. So it was, like you said, Adames and Devers. We got Chapman. There's just a lot of good positive momentum. And, Logan Webb. So it was just really nice to see season finished so strong and on such a positive note, really. And they won 4 in a row. They swept. They finished at 500. It was a Sunday fun day.
All good stuff. All good stuff right there,
couldn't ask
Andrea.
for too much more.
Well, I want to thank you for calling in and following me on X and Facebook and all the good things that you write out there. And I appreciate everything you've done, Andrea. You have a safe winter out in Berkeley, all right?
Oh, yes, and thank you for such a wonderful show. Really, like I said, win, lose, or draw, you always have that optimism and that realism in that perfect mix. So thank you, Bill.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Andrea. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. Well, as we keep moving on with the Extra Inning post-game show, sponsors always play a big part in preparing for this show, and I have to thank my major sponsor right off the bat. I think everybody knows that, Lenardi's of 8 locations. Quite simply the best. Tony Lucia and I have been doing this for many years, all the way back when it was on the hill with Vida and Bill. He was there for Vida and I, and he pushed through, and he's been my biggest supporter on Extra Innings post-game show for 6 years now. Handlery Hotel's another one. John Handlery in the San Francisco location, as well as in San Diego, the Handlery Hotel. Pettinelli Financial Partners, John Pettinelli. You can visit them. They're financial planners and do a great job at doing what you're looking for to plan your family for the times in the future. You can see them at 555 Veterans Boulevard in Redwood City. You can also look it up at info@pettinellilife.com. Wag Hotel, dogs and cats overnight stay. The doggy daycare, that's where I put both of my puppies right now, as I have 2 Bernese Mountain dogs, 1 Clover and 1 Blue, and they'll be doing a lot of times at the Wag Hotel over the winter. They have different locations in Redwood City, San Francisco, Sacramento, and Oakland. Birdman Bats from Redwood City, a great new sponsor. You can design your own maple bat, custom bats for all ages. Go to info@birdmanbats.com. Georgie Brothers, a new sponsor, family owned from 1933. A full-service furniture showroom, 211 Baden Avenue, South San Francisco. Give them a call if you need anything at 650-588-4621. Great indoor and outdoor furniture. One of the best furniture stores, and like I said, from 1933, quality. And of course, big league coaching. Why not? I have a fantasy camp coming up January 11th through January 17th in Scottsdale, Arizona. Go to bigleaguecoaching.org. You'll see my website and sign up. Be a big leaguer. All right, coming up next, I sit down with my good friend, my teammate, Robbie Thompson, as we get our final 2 interviews done for the 2025 season. Robbie Thompson and I talk Giants baseball and the Willie Mack Award coming up next right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey keeps the postgame rolling live right here.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM. The sports leader.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning postgame show with Bill Laskey. I'm privileged to bring a good friend of mine, teammate of mine. He played 11 years in Major League Baseball. Two-time All-Star, 1988, 1993. Won a Rawlings Gold Glove Award in 93, a Silver Slugger Award also in 93. He's also on the San Francisco Giants Wall of Fame. And he also was awarded the Willie Mack Award in 1991. After he retired, he coached for 3 different teams, the Giants, the Indians, and the Mariners. Let's bring in Robbie Thompson. Robbie, how are you today?
Just fine, thank you, man. Good to catch up with you. Just before I forget now, that 11 years, that was all with the Gigantes.
That was the key, right? That was the key right there, Robbie, the orange and black.
Yeah, my whole 11 years, and then, obviously 2.5 in the minor leagues, so it's all with the black and orange.
Well, as the 2025 season is ending, teams are moving on to the playoffs. Other teams are not. When do most of the teams start looking into the 2026 season? When do they start dissecting the roster for the upcoming year and start looking forward to things that they can change to the positive, as well as move on players that aren't going to be there next year?
Well, they're probably, it depends on organizations, but I think most of them are pretty similar. There is probably already scout talk with amateur scoutings that's been out there for draft, younger players on other organizations that were in the minor leagues, or yet some big league players that are possibly up for trade and what have you. So our free agency, I think the ball gets rolling a little earlier than it used to. And I think every organization tries to really, stay ahead of the game, so to speak.
Robbie,
Robbie,
one more thing. You look at the 40-man roster, and I think that's where a lot of the moves have to come. Who you're going to protect, who you're going to protect from Rule 5. Those are also things they have to discuss.
Correct. So that's where I got my beginning. Not to sit here and throw it on me, but the Rule 5. So I got protected. And, so when I went in my first spring training in 86, I was on the roster, put me on the roster. So I would not be picked up by some other team. And for a player, minor league kid, that's a big thing. To know they have that much interest in you and believe in you a little bit to, see what you have. They want to protect you and keep you in the organization. So, that's a big thing. They're going through all that to see, and there's only a certain amount. And you got to really have, a good scouting department and stuff like that, and people to speak out and fight for, each player that they may be covering. So, that's a big thing.
That voice you hear on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show, my ex-teammate Robbie Thompson. Robbie, we go back in time, and so many things change in our life. But, you grew up in Florida. You went to a high school, Forest Hill Community High School. You played ball there. When did it really appear to you where you had a lot of talent, where you could think about, maybe I am going to be a professional baseball player? Because it just doesn't happen in one day. You have to see it progress.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Now, growing up with 4 older brothers and a younger sister, which a couple of the brothers played some sports, not many of them. One of them played a little bit of baseball, but others were into football. So I kind of went on my own as far as felt with my size. I could run a little bit, jump and all. So I played basketball, which was my favorite sport, and baseball, because I figured if I played football at my size, 5'11", 160 pounds, I was going to get pounded around a little bit. So I chose to stay away from that. But, looking back, all I wanted was a chance. One, out of high school, was to go somewhere and play college. I didn't have any thoughts at all about signing and going pro, and because at that point in time, I really wasn't one of those guys that was going to be a high draft pick out of high school. I was just a steady player, had some tools, could run a little bit, didn't have much power at that time. I'm like, okay. That's when I went on to Palm Beach Junior College. Played my couple of years there, got a scholarship there, and ended up at University of Florida. So now University of Florida is kind of when you really thought I was pretty good in junior college. Shortstop, moved around shortstop, second base, a little bit of second. I'm like, man, this is great. I'm playing with some good talent. We have pretty good junior college baseball. We always have down in this area of South Florida. And,
Well, I think the main thing, Robbie, you wanted to play. You wanted to go somewhere
yes.
and play every day. As you said, you were a shortstop back then. You did get drafted out of junior college by the Oakland A's as well as the Seattle Mariners. You passed. You ended up going, like you said, to University of Florida, and it really paid off. 1983, you had a great year there, your junior year, and you were selected by the San Francisco Giants, first round, second pick. A lot of accolades of what you did up to that point. Excited about being drafted? Did you know much about the Giants? Because as we always talk about the Midwest or even in Florida, it's hard to find teams on the West Coast that you really followed.
Yeah, at that point in time, I was never really into following, especially teams out there. I followed the Expos a little bit, the Braves who were here in our area in West Palm. But, the irony of it is, so the late Don Zimmer, bless his heart, loved that man. His son, Tom, was the scout that drafted me. I don't know if you knew that. That's
No, I didn't. Interesting.
Yep. So it's a small world because then I ended up playing against them when he was managing the Cubs and all, and then playing with him and for him with the Giants. So small world. But back to that, when I was in college up at University of Florida, and I thought, you know what, I was really kind of putting my tools with other players that were there. And all of a sudden now you're kind of playing at a major college, and it's like, damn, these guys can play a little bit. So you're not that big fish in a little pond anymore. You're kind of with the rest of the big fish that are trying to move forward and move on. So that was all it was great experience, but University of Florida is where I kind of said, okay, this is the real deal. This is another step.
Mm-hmm.
And,
well, it worked out for you. You signed in 1983. You went through the minor leagues. In 1986 was a spectacular rookie year. Sporting News made you a Rookie of the Year at the end of the year. Everything worked out. You made the club out of spring training. You played in 149 games your rookie year, hit 271, 47 RBIs, 27 doubles. You were a mainstay at second base, something that you all of a sudden said, hey, I'm the starting second baseman of the San Francisco Giants. How did you enjoy doing that right off the bat? Nervous a little bit? And then you kind of settled in because you had a hell of a year.
Yeah, there were nerves, obviously. I mean, it's hard not to have the nerves. And if you don't have nerves and that adrenaline rush, then something's not right. So I fell in a really good spot and opportunity in spring training. I had no idea what kind of playing time I was going to get. Was prepping myself to be ready if I got that chance. If and when, Wilbur was there, Will Clark's there, and, two young cats, trying to get a chance. And, everything's about opportunity. And I was lucky. I was in the right place at the right time, obviously with the Giants. But then Manny Trio had moved on. So it was a group of us. Some of the guys were veteran minor league guys. I remember Mike Woodard and then Spiko and Dave Owen. And, a couple of these guys got hurt. And I eventually got an opportunity to play, alongside of Danny Dreesen and then Will Clark. And, and kind of the story continues on. But
well, the story continues on with the shortstop you played with, Jose Uribe, one of the best middle infields the Giants have ever had. 183 double plays you two committed up the middle. Fabulous hand-eye coordination, quick around the bag. You finished your 11-year career with a .985 fielding percentage, only about 110 errors, and that's pretty good. When you think about it, 11 years, you're talking about less than 10 a year at second base. Back in the day, they got to take you out. It wasn't about just running to the side. They took you out. They were out to knock you out in center field. Quick with your feet, quick with your hands. Everything worked well for you around the bag.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of reps, going through it, moving up to the minor leagues and then up to the big leagues. And yes, you find out in a hurry. The big leagues are called the big leagues for a reason. There's big players, they're big speed, and there's no games being played. So yes, I'll never forget the first time that Dave Parker came in and went to take me out. I kind of got up and out of the way, and he looked at me like I had 6 heads. Like, how did I miss that little second base? And I'm like, oh, and Kirk, don't forget him. He'll take anybody out. But you learn how to protect yourself. You had to know different, at least 3 different ways around the bag, so they didn't know exactly where you were going. And speaking of Jose Uribe, and even Royce Clayton, and Rich Riley when they came up, we worked hard. It's all about the feed.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a good feed. We took pride in that. You give me a good feed where I want it, we're turning to double play. I can get the ball, and I'll throw it right at the runner's forehead. He'll get down, and then it'll go on to Will Clark, and the shortstops, we worked together. And for me, that was a key component, in turning double plays.
Well, you were
And
quick at the bag.
you
You had quick hands, and the release you had, Robbie, was quick because it was always right by your ear or by your chest, and you got the hell out of the way most of the time. Your flexibility, your agility to get out before guys slammed you. Those times don't happen anymore. They just don't understand what you did as an acrobat because you were like that. You were jumping around all the time.
Yeah, because you're blindsided. You're looking at shortstop at third baseman, and then you pick up kind of the runner. But the thing goes back to is the feeds. We had pitching staffs, as you well know, that for the most part put the ball on the ground. And with that being said, we took pride as a young infield to, hey, if they're doing their job, we got to do ours.
Well, Robbie Thompson joining me on the Extra Inning post-game show. Robbie, also on the offensive side, looking at some numbers against left-handed pitchers, you hit 296 in your 11-year career, 38 home runs. Some of the numbers against Tom Glavine, 393, 22 for 56, 4 home runs, 8 doubles. Sid Fernandez, 270, 10 for 37. And your buddy Terry Mulholland, 11 for 27. Outstanding numbers against lefties. You went the opposite way a lot. Well, what was it about left-handers that you just thrived on?
Well, I've got better against righties a little bit just over time, but it's that breaking ball that's, I was a high ball hitter, basically fastball hitter, and then I had to learn to adjust and get the ball down once I got to the big league level because there was a lot of swing and miss with ball up top of it with a little fuzz ball. But it was the fact that, that for a right-handed hitter, that's the opportunity for you to lock in at a left-hander and get good at that because balls are basically coming into the zone instead of coming at you and moving away from the zone, the strike zone and the plate and all that. So I kind of conquered the left. I had pretty good success against left-handed pitchers. And, you just battle out against those dynamite right-handed pitchers and try to get something. We always used to talk, Matt Williams and I, Wilbur, got to get something today. That something could be a walk and maybe a run. So you got 2 things that day. Either move the runner over, hit the ball to right side, boom, the run scores. That's getting something done. So we always used to get something positive out of each game in your at-bats combined. That makes any sense.
It does. A few more minutes with the 2-time National League All-Star Robbie Thompson. 2 awards that you received as a San Francisco Giant for 11 years. The Giants Wall of Fame, the plaque on Embarcadero shines with your name, and it's a great award for something that you established as a Giant. But the 1991, the Willie Mack Award, it was just given out Friday here. And, it's something special because it was team related. Your teammates voted for you. The coaches voted for you. The leadership role you had in that locker room. Most of it was quiet. Sometimes when you spoke, everybody listened. But it was leadership. It was agility. It was spirit. You had that. And in 1991, your teammates acknowledged that. Tell me a little bit about that Willie Mack Award plaque that you have and how much that means to you.
Yeah, all the other things, the All-Star game, getting a nod for that, those are great. Gold Glove, great. Silver Slugger, great. But when you talk about the Willie Mack Award, I'll tell you a quick story, which makes it even more special. As you well know, we had that little tiny rickety clubhouse at Scottsdale. It was very tight-knit in there, and I came in from taking ground balls early or something like that, or after BP, I forget what it was, and I came in and they're setting Willie Mack locker up, and they're setting it up next to me. I still get goosebumps. I get chills right now. I'm like, Willie Mack? He wasn't there yet. And so next thing you know, they set up his locker, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. My first spring training, big league spring training, and I'm going to locker next, the one and only Willie McCovey. And he was the nicest, as you well know.
Yeah.
Gentle giant, nicest man, wouldn't push anything, but he would give his excellence and, try to help me out, what to expect at the big league level, blah, blah, blah. Never, ever. I will cherish that forever. Now, there's a ton of them. And so I'm going off of some else. That's back in the day, you remember. There was Willie Mays that would come to spring training draft.
Sure.
Willie McCovey, Jim Ray Hart, Jim Davenport, Juan Marinchel. I could go on and on, right? That was the greatest experience I would love to do that again. Just be able to live.
The memories of it, Robbie, and just like you say, the discussions, just sitting there talking to him like a teammate. And I remember sitting with him many times talking about pitchers to hitters and what you threw to certain guys and why did you throw that and why didn't you think about doing this? And it was just an encyclopedia of knowledge of one of the greatest hitters in the Giants' history. And I just think that award brings that to you a little bit more each day when you start thinking about it. And each year when they give it out, I think that the normal guy right now hasn't never met him. The player, the active player, never got to meet him. And the memories of yourself and other Willie Mack Award winners only cherish that because you did get to meet him and you knew him as a man. And that's why that award means a little bit more to you.
It was like back in the day, like for us and the younger group coming up, and obviously you were there as one of the veterans and Mike Kruko and what have you, but he was like E.F. Hutton, man, all those guys had his name when they spoke about something. Damn, you better be listening.
It's true.
And you better be absorbing it. If not, you're not a smart person.
Yeah.
All those guys, I cherish that. I don't know teams if we do that anymore with the Giants, but that memory there with all those greats being out there and helping out, and just listening to their stories and the way they got to the big leagues or whatever I use it as a tool for me to get better.
Well, sure. Robbie, it made you a successful 11-year career player for the Giants. It made you a Giants forever. And forever as teammates, man, you had one great career, and I was just part of it. And I appreciate your time today.
Well, give me one more second here, Tree.
Go ahead.
I want to say I apologize. I'm sorry not to be able to get out there for the Willie Mack Award. I've unfortunately had a bunch of Mo's skin stuff going on, Mo's surgeries, and I got to get these things taken care of. But I want to apologize because that's one of the events that I love going out there for. So hopefully I'll be able to pick it up on TV.
Yeah, we'll
somewhere.
definitely see you down the road at Oracle Park. But Robbie, like I said, thank you for your time today.
All right, pal. Thank you, man.
Yep, that was Robbie Thompson on the Extra Inning Post Game Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
Did you ever think you could become a big league baseball player? Well, now you can. Come to Big League Coaching Fantasy Camp. It's January 11th through January 17th, 2026 in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. Our host hotel is the Marriott Suites for the week. Come play with the great coaches, Joe Youngblood, Shooty Babbitt, Tim Flannery, Scott Gereltz, Mark Davis. Go to bigleaguecoaching.org and sign up today. Become a big leaguer.
Bill is back.
Fired up, bringing it, all excited.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Listen on your Google Home smart speaker by saying play KNBR.
All right, back on the Extra Inning post-game show as we finish out the 2025 season. San Francisco Giants threw a shutout today. They won 4-0, getting their 81st win. They're 81-81 as they finish up the campaign. Their 7th shutout on the year. Of course, Logan Webb went 5 1/3. Jose Budo went 2/3. Tristan Beck did 1 inning. And then Spencer Bivens did 2 innings, get his 3rd save. He had back-to-back saves in 2 straight games. Logan Webb, 15-11. Most innings pitched, 206 2/3. 224 strikeouts, the most in the National League, and ends up with a 3.22 earned run average. And what a performance he put on. 34 starts he threw this year, and that's your ace. 28 years old. He'll be back next year. And then you had some other feats. Willie Adames hit his 30th home run. Of course, that's the first time that's been done since 2004. Barry Bonds did it 21 years ago. 21 years ago, somebody hit 30 home runs. How about that? But he finished up with a nice year. 30 home runs, 87 RBIs. Rafael Devers hit his 35th home run. And when you look at what he did with the Giants, 20 of those home runs were in 90 games with the San Francisco Giants. Some great accomplishments today, and congratulations to the San Francisco Giants to finish 81-81. Also, I'd like to thank everybody from KNBR for giving me this opportunity to continue to do Extra Innings post-game show, finishing up my 6th year here on KNBR, and that starts with the program director, Mike Holer, and his assistant, John Curley, and all the great producers I work with. These guys just work their tail off most of the time when they're with me on Extra Innings, but a lot of great guys. Kyle Haar, of course, Double D, Danny Dunn, he's working today for me, Rafael Coriel, Kyle Chung, Jacob Violante, Cole Lepelt. And I got to do a special shout out to my buddy Tony Farias. Of course, you hear him, Marcus and Murph in the morning. He produced all of my interviews, all of them, over 135 of them. He cut and produced them, and I can thank him. I just can't thank him enough for all the time and effort he did for me, and that was Tony Farias. All right, coming up next, I sit down with Greg Elliott, 18 seasons. He's been the San Francisco Giants groundskeeper, the head groundskeeper. And this is where I go back with Greg. Greg and I both grew up in Toledo. I knew his dad real well. When he got the job, I got to see him his first week. And he came up to me and said, so-and-so Elliott. And I was like, so-and-so, that's your dad? And he goes, yeah, I'm his son Greg. And we started talking right then and there. And Mike's his dad, and we started talking. And next thing you know, he goes, I said, what are you doing here? And he goes, I'm going to be the new head's groundkeeper. And I was like, unbelievable. So the next day I go back into his office and we sit and chat for a good half hour, 45 minutes. Well, on Wednesday I went up there and we did our interview. From the first day to the last day, here's an interview with Greg Elliott, a good one, a really solid guy. He's moving on to the San Jose Earthquakes. Just did a fabulous job at Oracle Park. Daily work, has a great group of people he works with. So sit back. I got one more interview for you. Greg Elliott and I talk about the San Francisco Giants, Oracle Park, and how he kept that field so pristine. Right here on the Extra Inning Postgame Show on KNBR.
The game may be over, but we know you want to talk more ball. So KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey continues.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
We are KNBR 104.5 and 6.8, the sports leader.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Post-Game Show with Bill Laskey. I'm at Oracle Park with my good friend, and he's retiring out of the Oracle ballpark. 18 seasons he's been here. We go back all the way to Toledo, Ohio. Let's bring in Greg Elliott. Greg, how are you today?
Wonderful, Bill. Thanks for having me on today.
Oh, it's fun. I'm glad I'm in your office, and it's so much deja vu because 18 years ago, I ran into you when you first took this job, and I was back here congratulating you, and here today, as the season's going to come to a close, you're moving on.
I am. Exciting new opportunity, and it's not quite a retirement. It's a readjustment into a different sport.
Well, you did a fascinating job here at Oracle Park, and you can do all the name changes. But let's go back. You and I both grew up in Toledo, and we wanted out. You went to Michigan State. I went to Kent State. I went and played baseball, and you learned all about this.
That's true. It was my path to work in baseball. And hopefully my goal was to end up in a major league ballpark. And I won the lottery and ended up in San Francisco.
Oh, fabulous. And I've told you for 18 seasons, this ballpark gets better and better. Let's just go through a couple changes. And one of the biggest things that I talk about is the bullpens. When you go back in time, when the ballpark was first built, they wanted the bullpens on the side. Peter McGowan wanted that. And with all the injuries and all the different things of how players kind of slowed down to not get hurt and catching a foul ball, it came about that the bullpens were moved. How did that all come about?
Well, I think injuries played a small part of it. I really think at the time the team really wanted the ball to play true and let the athletes be the athletes. There's also the additional we had to create space, and therefore the outfield wall came in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we were able to move some sidelines in, create some more seats. So there's a good way for us to, business-wise, pay for it, as well as improve the playing conditions and safety of the athletes. So it was a pretty important project altogether.
Greg Elliott sitting next to me here at Oracle Park. Of course, he's been the head groundskeeper here for 18 seasons. Let's talk about World Series. You've been here 3 times, 2010, 12, and 14. 3 fabulous World Series, 3 fabulous times. Everybody looking at the ballpark back then. Everybody had eyes on you. How was that for you?
Exciting. Even in 2012 when we beat our beloved Tigers. That was tough. As a child, I never would have wanted that, but I was very happy that it happened when we were here. But it was exciting times. My parents, they get to watch, and they get to watch my work, and that's probably the most gratifying thing. Winning is unbelievable, but also having your work showcased out for everybody is equally as rewarding.
Well, one big thing, Greg, is the transition from baseball field to special events. The concerts were just fabulous here. When you look at 18 years of doing great concerts, some great artists. How difficult was that for the transition of you and your staff to make that happen?
The biggest thing was we knew it was going to become a line, to help fund the team. So they are related. The business side feeds into the baseball side. And one of my jobs, the hardest job I have, is to walk that line between groundskeeper and event promoter. And then my whole goal the entire time was for the baseball team not to know that it happened. So we have incrementally added things over a short period of time, starting with sub-air. We made the warning track bigger. The center field wall, the bullpen renovation we talked about. Alfonso Felder had a great idea of making that removable, so we can remove it and use storage space behind. And then by making the warning track bigger, we could put more of the heavy stuff of the stage on the warning track and prevent forklifts and things like that. And the concert promoters, Live Nation, Another Planet, they work with us on the process to get it in and out. And then we started adding soil biology where we're putting out live microorganisms through our irrigation system and running a carbonic acid system to help break down the soil so it'll be more acceptable. I mean, we have a lot of stuff, testing protocols that we could test against soil sensors, you name it. But it all started 18 years ago, and we built these systematic systems in place that are just making the field better and more consistent for the athlete. I told John Shea, we create the canvas for the artist to perform.
That's a great one line, too. Greg Elliott joining me on the Extra Inning postgame show. You know, we talk about mowing the grass. We talk about water. And you showed me one thing one time where you could tell exactly the ballpark of where it was dry, where it was wet. I mean, that was fascinating to me. And you just kind of talked about it in your terms. But if you're thinking about it as you come into the ballpark, you see the grass totally green. You see it manicured. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of manpower.
It does. And like anything else, it's kind of like the smart home development. Like some of these things that we've implemented, we fly the drone. I showed you that drone image.
Yeah.
And it just tells you where your problems are going to be before they happen. So you get 2 extra days on top of it to reverse it before it becomes a problem. You can also pick up disease pressure from that. You can see if an irrigation head isn't rotating because it's a weird shape. So all those things come into play. And when you use the surface as much as we do, those keys and those little incremental changes will really help you focus on what you need to do.
Well, Greg, weather. We always talk about candlestick with the fog, but you get fog here. You get a lot of dew. And, you know, as we're talking today, there's showers coming out. You tarp the field once in a great while. But in the long run, is weather a big, big problem?
Not really. It changes, and the microclimates are different. But I'd rather it be cooler and have moisture coming in to pull moisture up. With our road infield, the moisture would pull up, and the grass does get a little dewy. But we put in the sub-air unit to kind of help counteract that. So during these times of years, like I'll run it I'll run the sub-air system, which connects to our drainage system. I'll run it in vacuum for 10 minutes prior to pregame, and it just pulls it down. Now, it will add some compaction and things like that. But overall, the idea here is to bring the moisture up on the infield and make it operate better. And we have a wet season in the spring. We have a really dry summer season. And then our fall season, it usually returns very similar, but the weather's nicer. So it's October's the best time to grow grass here, best time to have an infield, best time everything. A little bit of humidity comes into the air, and it just keeps everything nice and moist and perfect.
Greg Elliott, not retiring, let's say moving on after 18 years here, being with the San Francisco Giants, a good friend, he and I, all the way back in Toledo, Ohio. You know, when we talk about the mound, of course, being a pitcher as I was, you always protect the mound when you do special events, anything, you always see it all roped off. Why is that?
Well, everyone wants to get on top of it. And moisture is key to that. I can count on my hand about 5 times where we've left it open, and immediately the next day we have an issue.
Wow.
The consistency and the pure force and violent nature of pitching on elbows, knees, ankles, shoulders, hands, everything. I mean, I realize watching the major league pitcher operate is how much intensity they have and how much energy they expel on every single pitch. And then they have to repeat that upwards of 100 to 110 times. And the effect that takes on their body it's amazing. So I try to go out of my way. I started it when we had Bumgarner, Lincecum, and Kane because we had $60 million wrapped up. That was an easy diversion there. And that proved to be something that we try to protect going forward because of the pure nature of what you as a former pitcher went through and the injuries that can come from it. Can end a career.
Right off the mound, sure.
Right off the mound.
Greg, when you communicate with umpires, of course, when weather is persistent and the rain and forecasts, and you've done this back in when the World Series was here and the playoffs were here, the rain means a lot, and you have to communicate with the umpires of the radar and what's coming in. How hard is that for you to say, we need to stop this game in 20 minutes, or we need to keep going, this has got to be done now? I mean, how do you communicate that with them?
Well, first thing is know the rules. If the umpires get the balls, then I don't have control.
That's even better.
So yeah, so that's the first rule. But they do want to work with you, and they do want to make sure that they understand that I'm the resident expert here. Mm-hmm. And we get information from Major League Baseball. We use a weather system called MX Weather Century, which I've used since my days in the minor leagues back in Toledo, working for the Mud Hens. And I've learned that system pretty well. We're watching the radar today. You know, I know this is tape delayed, but, you know, we watch it all the time. And the big thing is when you're out there, you don't lie to an umpire. Mm. You will get a bad reputation. You will not see it. You explain to them where the weak points are on the field so they can identify them quickly, and then they will make the right decision. There's been times where we should have put the tarp out, didn't, because it came down a little harder. And they're like, what do we do now? And I'm like, push through. Mm. And that's happened. 2012, with Marco Scudero doing his thing. They're like, it's 10 runs. And let's finish this thing. And I said, yeah, well, I have plenty of conditioner here. There's nothing heavy on the radar, but it's raining heavy.
It was.
And it was smart of the umpire to push through. Game was out of hand. We had another inning to get through. We pushed through. We threw material out, and we were able to get through and then get ready. And then the next day for the Tigers World Series warm-ups, I had to water the infield.
Crazy. That's so crazy.
I had to call George Costa and say, come down here. He goes, what? I go, I got to water the infield. I'll be right there. So it was funny.
Well, as we finish up with Greg Elliott, and I'm going to be missed to see you out here, and you and I have been friends for a long time. 18 seasons. You won't be coming back here every day. What's going to be most missed by you?
I think the biggest thing is my staff and the people I've worked with over the 18 years, excuse me. The crew I've built, we try to create a family atmosphere. We rely on one another to get the work done. And I've had former officers in here, I've had former firemen, and they equate it to like a firehouse.
Wow.
So we don't make any good food or anything like that, but
you bring it in.
we work hard and we rely on one another, and there's a trust. Yeah. So that'll be something I need to build at the next place and try to create that trust with one another. It's really, it's irreplaceable. However, I will benefit from getting to see my family more. That's really the main reason for moving on, Bill.
Yeah.
I love what I do, but I love my family more.
Well, you were great at it for 18 seasons. Giants fans are going to miss you, but I'll miss you even more, Greg. But thank you for joining me today. My last interview for 2025, and I couldn't have asked for a better person to interview.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate you.
Greg Elliott on Extra Inning Postgame Show. More coming up next right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
You're listening to the former Giants righty. It's KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Heard on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Post-Game Show as we finish out our final show of the 2025 baseball season. The Giants finish 81-81. And for Bill Laskey, I need to thank you, Giants fans, as well as baseball fans all across the nation. Even out in Australia, people called in. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your calls. But I want to thank you for your opinions, because opinions matter on this show. I listen, I learn, I give you mine. That's what talk radio is all about. That's what KNBR is giving me that opportunity to do. So today, I want to thank you all for joining me for my 6th season, and we'll do it again in 2026. As I finish up, be safe, be well, have a great off season, and just remember one thing, the Giants will be better next year in 2026. Go Giants! From Bill Laskey to you, have a safe winter. Coming up next on NBC, the Packers versus the Cowboys, and that's on Westwood One Radio, right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
It's another great outing for the righty on your home of San Francisco Giants baseball. KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader. Play KNBR on iHeartRadio.